Hello, I hope all is progressing well. Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, where we discuss myriads of topics civilly, reasonably, and responsibly. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Our first topic is with regard to how youth are connecting with AI, at least seeking to connect with AI, inquiring of different dimensions, and the article is showing a data set reflecting how individuals are looking to AI for questions about human development. Now, when one may recognize that there are youth operating to a capacity with AI and having perspectives about deepfakes or images going out, or how individuals exchange images, it's very important to respect the boundaries of these choices, of these perspectives. One may observe how, if any might be wondering of health developmentally, one may benefit greatly from having appropriate health education, meaning health education that is informative of how humans may develop biologically and how humans may respond to the development, how each individual may grow uniquely, how what may be only biologically may actually connect with what is psychological. What may be nutritional may be extremely important for one to navigate for personal journey as well. So one may regard one's health in the better ways possible. So AI being so readily available for individuals that have devices that are able to access an AI entity is going to bring about realizations like when any medium becomes readily available. Individuals may cater to the medium, may find service of the medium, and it is extremely important to ensure conversations are happening about how to approach these dimensions, so individuals may recognize that where people interact with these entities is as important as when these individuals interact with these entities, in connection with how these individuals connect with these entities. Because if an individual has a device near a time when an individual will greatly benefit from being asleep, and the individual is looking for answers on the internet instead of finding a way to communicate with a living person that may be able to help the individual find good resources, is indicative of space for growing. When any individual is attempting to operate with media literacy on one's own, especially because one feels more comfortable being on one's own with a device than with an actual human being in person, then one may address what might be factoring into these realities. And one may find that there may be an online entity that works with real people to answer real questions 24/7. So the response dynamic is extremely important, because when one observes how a human may respond, one may find great benefit. How AI may respond may operate of many different areas that may be entertaining and draws to question if an individual is seriously engaging or being of an entertaining behavior, so as to self-entertain oneself with the device of which one is using. The relations that individuals have may benefit from attention that might be necessary to engage with in an educational environment if an individual does not have a source at home, or a guardian in an intermediary space, or a person of not only trust and loyalty, though of awareness, knowledgeable of what may be healthy, knowledgeable of media literacy. If an individual does not have certain levels of access that may be beneficial, an individual may be engaging with areas of the internet that may not be the best routes for an individual to be engaging with. Because when observing how relationships may be, one may well regard how there are certain situations where being in person may be far more beneficial than being at a distance. Also, how individuals may be responding to each other with different forms of information is extremely important to acknowledge as well, especially if individuals are maturing and operating of dynamics that may be somewhat immature at times. It's very important to be mindful of the information that the youth are sharing. Now, what the article presents is evidence of a study, is data, different proportions, so individuals may regard that the sample size is the sample size. Though the reality is there may be far more of what is present in the article going on elsewhere. And it's important to be able to acknowledge reality, to accept the reality, though also embrace what may be possible with the present information, so the youth don't feel that there is less of space to go, especially after already encountering space which seems accessible, open, and welcoming. It will be greatly beneficial to ensure appropriate parameters of education are going through implementation, obviously not just in an educational environment, though in a home environment. And if there are avenues available for aftercare lessons or packaging that educational entities may bring forward to benefit students, even benefiting parents, guardians, constituents of an educational environment, teachers, staff, administration, bringing the guidance forward to show that there are ways to respond that are not going to feel stifling for an individual that may already feel like the world is stifling. So everyone may benefit to a degree with the information being available, with the guidance being available, so as to ensure no, preferably, harm than harm to any capacity. Our next topic is about funding affecting sex education. When observing the benefits of sex education, it's very important to recognize the idea that there is only one way to proceed with sexual behavior may prove harmful. A different approach is to recognize that there is a culture that subscribes to a particular way of engaging with sexual dimensions. There are laws that individuals are to respect with regard to sexual dimensions. With these considerations, individuals may proceed with mature conversations of what is core to human development, what is core to bringing about the populations of countries all around the globe without any fear, without any shame, without any guilt. When observing how sexual education may benefit, it is important to recognize how costs may receive mitigation through appropriate sexual health education. What that may mean is ensuring individuals are aware of STIs, are aware of different ways to engage with sexual behaviors, are aware of different cultures of beliefs that are in the predominant conversation in ways that ensure individuals recognize full control of personal choice. There are so many ways to address how one may respond to sexual development personally. So ensuring that individuals have good sexual health education helps individuals make decisions that are valuable engaging with their long-term health, as well as alleviates any potential tensions of the not knowing factor, of the peer pressures that may be around. So individuals may set decisions mindfully without feeling as though subscribing to some overarching belief that may seem like it is contributing to self-repression, or feel like oppression, or feel stifling from what really is to be enjoyable, pleasurable, and not harmful. When considering how funding comes into ensuring individuals have the appropriate tools available in case one may be thinking of making a decision that is in line with one's choices, then one may recognize having the tools, having the resources, is better than not having the tools or resources. When the costs may prove quite differently without the resources, one may recognize that any pathway that is seemingly enforcing a different belief pathway without recognition of all of the available pathways, without recognizing the core of the human experience, one may find that an individual may experience the cost more so than just financially, because sexual health, sexual education is not just of physical proportions. So, when observing how any may be able to engage with good sexual health education, one may find that one may have to self-educate if there is conflict, if there is interference with what might be actually healthfully beneficial. The self-education is extremely important with the appropriate resources that are of scientific rigor, so as to ensure individuals make mindful decisions with their mindful development, without just looking into any detail without any research backing. In the modern age, there is so much evidence to assist individuals with mindfully self-culturing, mindfully self-developing. So having a healthfully, scientifically supported pathway is extremely valuable for individuals that may not be able to access resources prior. A different direction of many, of course, is how any entity experiencing a situation of funding, meaning a need for funding or a tighter budget, may greatly benefit from having a pathway of learning where individuals may be able to engage with the information well, and, if possible, networking to source the resources where one area might have far more than another area for whatever reason, and observe what averages might be for use in each area to assist with supplying demands. All right, it's time for some origami. I have here a rectangle sheet of paper. What I'm going to do first is make a square of this rectangle by bringing the corner across. Then I'm going to fold this bottom portion here, and I'm going to rip it off. And this is going to bring me closer to the even square. Now, I already have one fold here. I'm going to fold again. So, point to point fold. And from this point to point fold, I have a perpendicular crossing here. I'm going to take this point, let's grab a point, and I'm going to bring it over here, as so. So the idea to help with this folding, you can actually fold it perpendicular the other way as well, if you really want to get even more accurate with this pointer. And so the idea here is, when I take this fold and I bring it over, you can imagine that I'm bringing it to align with this perpendicular fold here of the cross. Okay? But you want to make sure you have the fold coming in from this point, at this point here, and you can just fold it in. So you see, starting from that point, and it just folds over. Next, from here, I'm gonna actually take the bottom point and we're gonna bring it up. Bring it up to that line where your most recent fold across is. Then you're going to just bring the other point down to the other end. And the perpendicular lines help with guiding the folds. So what's going to happen here next is you can just fold it in half. You're going to take this point here, you're going to fold it to the open portion, right at the beginning. Then fold the other in the same manner, just toward that open space, but right at the beginning. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over. We're going to have a fold over folding. So what happens is just going to press it over and bring it through. Press it over and just bring it through, making plates, layers. Press it over and bring it through over the 3 lines you'll see on the back. From here, what you can do is now fold to just the first or the second line. So we'll fold to the second line here, and then we'll fold down. But the fold down is going to leave us with a step. So we'll have a nice little step. Okay. After you have this portion here, you're going to turn it over and you're going to fold up just enough so you can fold up right here to this step here. Then you're just going to fold it down. So now we have an extra plate here. What we're going to do next is we're going to just fold this entire piece down. We're going to fold it together. Okay. From here, you can just fold this point in. And if you like, you can fold it on the other side, do the same. Make this have a tighter fold. And from here, I'm gonna open it up and just pop it through the center here. Pop it through the center, and now you'll see you have a nice beginning here. We're on our way to making this worm. So as you can see in this corner, it's already folded in. You can do the same with this front corner here. Just fold it in, fold it in, and you can just spread the bottom portion of these folds a little bit so you add a curve into this origami worm. Don't pull too much because then it'll unfold the top portion. And from here, you can just press in to add some roundness to the origami worm. This roundness helps with the form of the worm as it's going along. Alrighty. And in the instructions, you'll find that you can glue this together so that it stays together. You can also decorate it how you so choose. So this is an origami worm. Voila. All right. I champion reading physical books. When an individual reads a physical book, there are a lot of health benefits. One of which is the brain physically changes as one is reading a physical book. This connects with the science of spatial development. Jhāna, consciousness. I find the reality of Jhāna consciousness to be enlightening, alleviating. It's a true development of pure being and is like a form of unconscious meditation, though only accessible by truly engaging with one's life fully. I think Jhāna consciousness is so wonderful to address when one might be feeling an enormous sense of peace, calm, joy, though perhaps without fully recognizing how to define the sense of being. And I think Jhāna consciousness brings definition to how one may comprehend such an enormous reality. I like the meditative factor of Jhāna. I like how one is constantly evolving, constantly developing through how one is choosing to live, how one is choosing to think, and the elevating of consciousness is like a plane carrying one through different spheres, and the plane may evolve and the spheres may evolve. I think the spiritual dimensions, the physical dimensions, the mental dimensions all come into recognition with Jhāna consciousness. And the text goes about being informative of Jhāna consciousness to degrees where one may recognize what Jhāna is, what Jhāna may be, how individuals may really be feeling impact from practices in connection with Jhāna, and how there are different ways to comprehend engaging with practices of Jhāna consciousness. And really, I think the engaging portion may resonate with the unique factor of not only Jhāna consciousness, though, of one's meditative development. Thank you for joining. I don't know. We can talk about it. Onward and Upward, Kevin Dufresne.